you dress however you want, with the means that you have. And sometimes people don't necessarily have the money to let's go purchase all these different things. But when we have these fashion releases, it also allows us to build a strong community. Because now if we had 50 of those sweatshirts, now when I go out and I see people that have that and we're wearing the same thing, hey,
that's a tribe.
It's a tribe,
Yeah. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Sunday Refocus. I am your host, Nifemi Ashani, and this is a Style by Nif production. Today, I am so excited to welcome with me Ivan Touko. Ivan is a dynamic speaker, community leader, and filmmaker as well. He is a dedicated person to the African youth and promoting positive change. At 27, he has significantly advocated for African youth locally and as well globally. As the co-founder of Connexional, the UBUNTU Festival, and the Black-Owned Market Edmonton, as well as being Edmonton's top 40 under 40 honoree, Ivan is committed to community building. His projects provide platform for African youths to showcase their talents and shape futures. With a background in film and dance, Ivan uses visual media to amplify marginalized voices and explores identity, resilience, and social justice. He has donated over 10,000 hours and reinvested over $100,000 in communities. Ivan's contributions span to the nonprofit as well as corporate sector, earning him awards like the ACGC Top 30 Under 30 and the African Canadian Artist of the Year, recognizing him and his impact on the arts, culture, and community development. That is amazing, Ivan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm so happy to have you here today. You're such a positive and pioneering person in the Edmonton community, and it's an honor to have you on here, truly.
I'm really humbled to hear that because I don't even know how we got here. So it's really humbling to hear that. And so thank you very much for having me.
For sure.
It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to be on this podcast today.
For sure. I know we go way back, doing a lot of collaborations together and being able to activate the community and the events that you do. But I would love to know, I want the people to know, could you please describe your style in 3 words?
My style?
Yes.
Like fashion style or just style?
Like your fashion style.
Ooh. It's changed a lot over the years. I think 3 words right now will be vintage, Afro flavors, and then different.
Different. Yeah. I like that. I feel like some people have been saying different, and I like that. What does difference, being different, mean to you when it comes to style? Like, what does that mean?
I guess maybe what I mean is unique to me.
Okay.
I feel over the years I've learned what I like, and I don't follow the trends. You know, like when you go on Shein or even when you're on Instagram, there's like sometimes archetypes of what to wear. Sometimes I can, build on those archetypes, but still make it mine because that's what I feel that fits well with my body type. But I think I also like thrifting a lot. So a lot of my really cool stuff is because I thrift a lot versus just going to the store to buy. Because when you thrift, you usually get like a lot of cool stuff.
Yes.
And I'm going to admit on this podcast that I've thrifted a lot on the women's side. Lot of all of the men that do that have really good style because a lot of the women clothes out there fit really, really good on men.
No, I agree.
Yep.
Even for me, sometimes I thrift on the guy side because especially when I'm looking for blazers. You know what I mean? And like some women blazers, yes, it's a hit or miss, but sometimes you find a really good blazer on the men's side. So it's all good. I feel you heard that. So what would you say your style, like what message would you say your style is conveying to the world?
As a first generation, immigrant that is also of African and Cameroonian descent, I hope that my message conveys to be yourself as much as you can. You don't need to be. I feel that over the years, if you go on my Instagram, you can notice that I have that one pen from like 2 years ago, which I'm actually very proud of. Which are things that in our society sometimes like it's like, oh, fast fashion and you always have to get something new. And yes, I do buy new stuff. Don't get me wrong. I buy on Shein. I'm not going to lie. But I think like I really, I'm moving more towards minimalism in certain ways where I'm starting to like flush out the things that I don't really like and just wear the same things every day and just kind of like mix and match them because I just like it. Sometimes you have too many clothes and you don't even know where to start. And I'm also but I've been wearing a lot of nudes and browns.
I've noticed that you do that.
Sticking to that palette because I don't want to do all black. I can't do all white. And for me, it's been like the right middle. It also goes well with my skin tone. So, so win-win-win.
And I also see that even reflecting in your brand as well, like even some of your collections that you have like dropped in the recent years, like those new tones, even in the name, the chocolate. I forget the name.
Was it cocoa butter?
Yeah, cocoa butter. I was like, I see it already, even in your brand, and just like seeing how like your personal style is also reflected in like that Connexional. It's really beautiful to see that synergy, right? So I would love to hear more about the journey of you being the CEO and strategic partner manager of that Connexional. I know you started that Connexional when you were in university, if I'm correct, right? So it's been years because you've been out of university for a long time.
I was also in university for way too long.
But that's okay. Everyone's journey is different, right? But like, tell us, like, what motivated you to start that Connexional? You know what I mean? Because you started off as just something where you wanted to bring a lot of your friends together, create spaces in the city. What motivated you to start and how and why did you keep going?
The motivation and I can't really. The motivation initially when we started Connexional was it was me, my friend Tarisa and Issa back in the time, and we're sitting in our car somewhere on, I think, 107 Avenue, actually. And we just realized that we're having a lot more fun in our car, listening to Afrobeats and Latin music in our car. And we couldn't comprehend and understand how that was possible. Because as young men, we went to clubs and whatnot and all those things. And just right then and there, we decided that we wanted to throw a party that was going to be Afro-Latin. And so that's how things came together. We just wanted a space where we could actually have fun and not in our car, and actually in a place that had the music system and places that we did frequent, often at that age. And so that's how it started. And really what has kept me and us going is the impact that even that first night had. It was It was Thursday, May 25th, 2017.
Wow, I love that you remember the date.
Yeah, I can never forget that because Thursdays are, if you went out, Thursdays are usually dead, and if you're old enough to know Privé in Edmonton,
yes,
there was no one at Privé on Thursdays. So we were given this date and it was kind of like a challenge already because we're trying to do something new. And that night we sold out Privé. Wow. And so that was between 400 and 450 people.
Wow.
And so for us to have done that on a Thursday and sell out the place, it was definitely something that kind of like went way beyond what we expected. And before that, I'd been involved in a lot of different like community organizations or projects or events like, was it Africa Unite? I was involved in Africa Unite. I've done a lot of things in community, and also like very active at the French campus. So seeing all of those primarily Black and brown folks in the same room, I'd never seen that many people in that space together like that, just having a good time. So it was, it was sort of like, oh, there's something more here. And for a long while, we kept doing parties. And the year after, we did our first live music show. And that live music show is also what sort of like created more ripple effect, because through that live music show we had Mel Afrique, we had Buba, I believe, we had some like Edmonton OGs, in terms of like live music and talent. So that live music show that started in the basement of 9910 has then went on to be featured at the Starlight Room and so many other big venues in Edmonton. And the big thing for me, especially as a first African immigrant, as a first generation African immigrant, was I have been able to find community and friends through La Connexional. We started it as friends, and I've also seen the impact that it's had on people. Today, we currently have about 120 Google reviews. I don't think there's any organization in Edmonton like ours that has Google reviews the way we do.
Yeah.
And when you go on there, you will see people talking about how this festival has impacted. That was like, like you can read through the emotions of how people, how our events or experiences have impacted people. So it's been really tough to keep going because honestly, sometimes I wish I was telling my friend Stevie today that sometimes I wish I never entered the world of business because it's really hard. It's really hard. I've sacrificed. I would feel like years of my life, years, late nighters and all these things, but it's the impact that it's having that is keeping me going. But also I see the potential in something like this, if I am able to have, I am a parent now. So knowing that what I'm building is potentially something that, my little is going to benefit from, is going to be able to experience because I didn't get to experience that when I came here first. And there's a lot of parties and experiences happening out there, but I don't think there's anyone, not that there's anyone, but I think what we provide is definitely unique and stands out. There are other ventures and other organizations doing amazing things, but I think we provide something that is very much catered to that 18 to 35 range. So.
No, I love the journey of like just taking that leap of faith, to just, let's create something, let's do something, let's throw a party and see who comes. Like you guys didn't know that there was gonna be such a huge turnout like that, right? And then it goes into this journey of like creating more experiences, investing more money, more time, more energy to, make people, especially in the Black community, I feel like is a lot of who you serve. And so even the Afro-Latinos, like making them feel seen and creating spaces for those types of people here. You know what I mean? And that's a beautiful thing that you have been on that journey for so long. And going into the challenges, I'd love to hear more and just get a sense of like what has been like the main challenges you've been faced, even like maybe in the early days and even now that you face running the Connexional, and perhaps like ways that you've been able to overcome it or find a balance in the journey right now, at least some sort of equilibrium. You know what I mean? But share those things with us.
I will say the hardest thing whenever I think about it has always been capacity in terms of capacity of people, person, and skills. And that is due to like a variety of factors that a lot of them are beyond my control. And so when I mean capacity is currently I probably still do like 70% to 80% of the work of La Connexional or even more. And so I have a team that is supporting and helping, but it's not necessarily bad, it's just more like an end. And the struggle with us being where we are right now, at the stage where we are, where we don't have necessarily the financial capacity to, let's say, have a full-time someone that's working full-time on it that I can delegate on, or like having a full-time assistant, different things like that, makes it so that like you just have to keep putting more of your time and invest more money and more resources and more assets. So the challenge has always been capacity and financial, like sustainability, in the sense of just having really, really good products or services that kind of like can sustain you for a really, really long time. And so over the years though, and I would say even in the last year or so, we've been slowly figuring those things out. And so those challenges, now we are starting to find the balance, because during COVID, one thing that we did is that we invested a lot in software. We invested a lot in software. If you look at the Black-Connexional page right now, you could think that we have like a whole media team behind us. We do have a media team that supports, but a lot of it has been made possible with things like AI.
Yes.
We've had to leverage AI. We've had to leverage softwares that allow us and people from our team that may not have videography editing skills to edit a video, that do not have audio editing skills to edit a video. So the challenges is mostly around resources. So again, capacity in terms of people, finance in terms of like figuring out, getting a better cash flow, figuring out revenues, different streams of income. And so something that I'm really proud that we've been able to achieve is we've developed a lot of different streams of income. And so one of our biggest goals in the next 5 years is to really consolidate them, because we've had fashion releases. We have events. Some of our events the last 2 years have been very successful, especially during the summer. Then we have consulting. We do a lot of consulting. We've done DIS consulting. We do marketing consulting for some organizations. I myself, as a dancer, I do a lot of consulting for different organizations. I've worked with schools. So we've been able to stretch ourselves where we've really explored all the different kind of streams of income that we can do. But that's not always the best thing either. So it's, as a small business, quote unquote, it's really like now like honing on those things. And some of the things that we're looking at right now, we just recently released this. We released a summer pass. And we actually had 4 people get this pass, which I was very proud of, because it was kind of like a proof of concept. And out of those 4 people, we're calling them village founders. And we are going to get their feedback to essentially improve the pass so that we can have like almost like a recurring, like a monthly subscription for events, which is something that's quite interesting.
I remember you mentioned that to me. Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good.
We've had 4 people got on that. And so it's interesting to know that. And so one of the feedback that one person gave was, when I saw the pass, I didn't even think twice, because I love the value that you are bringing. And you'll maybe have to do more marketing or that. So things are coming together. But it's really hard. Like it's something feel like there's no end to the tunnel, but it's there. It's there.
But at least like you've been able to persevere, right? And I would love to, before I even go to this next question, I want to ask like, what has been able to help you stay grounded in all of this? Because you are doing a lot. You know what I mean? You are doing a lot. And, the composure is there. You have the composure. You do not seem like you're falling apart. God forbid you fall apart. You know what I mean? So I feel that's a thing for a lot of immigrant people. It's like how we're able to still like inside we're like, but like outside we're like, okay, let's really, So what has been helping you stay, grounded and being able to have all this pursuit? Like, would you say it's like your strong community of friends and family? Because I feel like the huge thing about, pursuing a path of like, being an entrepreneur, of wanting to create something that's innovative. At times it's like really only you who understands it. And I feel like that there's value in that. Because there's an extent
it sucks, but there's value.
It is value in that, There's an extent to which people should get to and shouldn't get what you're doing. But if many people understand what you're doing, then I don't think you're really innovating.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Facts, so it's like, but there needs to be a balance of like, okay, there's people who still support me regardless. So what has been that for you? How has that been in this journey for you?
So I've recently moved. There's a few things. The first thing would definitely be my village. Like the people around me, whether that's my fiance, my little, my family, my mom, my brother. My big brother has been a huge pillar in our family since we immigrated to Canada.
Yes.
My big sister.
And can you let the people know where you're from? I think you mentioned Cameroon. Yes.
I'm originally from Cameroon. That's West Africa. Geographically, but politically we're in Central Africa. And we are African miniature. We are probably the best people in Africa. Just kidding. We are all the best people.
Amen.
So I think definitely my village is a big thing. Like one thing, so I've been back home once since I came to Canada, and one thing that was really refreshing going back home was to realize that I know exactly where literally the tomb of my ancestors are. Like I literally, in my tradition, I'm Bamileke in Cameroon, Bamileke Bafon. And Bamilekes are a tribe or a group of people that, have like very strong connections to the ancestors. And some things that we do is when your ancestors die, there's like a house that houses them, and you can actually put their skulls under the house. And when you go visit, you lit a fire. That's something I did with my dad for the first time when I went back, and doing that was very powerful to me because being in Canada, I realized a lot of people don't know how far they go. I still, even though if I were to look at at my ancestry, there's still a lot that I could learn. But having that experience and knowing that something that's there gives me a lot of strength in who I am and who I can become, because there's a multitude of people, from my mom to my dad, that have sacrificed a lot for me to be here. And part of that, upbringing is very thankful to that village, to all the aunties that helped raise me, and just all the people that helped do that. So it's hard for me to give up because I know that being able to hopefully bring something. What is La Connexional? Because La Connexional is not the only venture that I can do. It's unfortunately a venture that I'm stuck in because I love it so much and the passion is there. But it's something that I'm actively looking at. How do I let the next generations take over? And we started that process. So it's a big part of what keeps me grounded and going is my village. And I'm just grateful to be breathing, to be alive. I'm grateful for the people that I've been able to have around me that support me, that understand some of the things that I do. And even sometimes it doesn't please them, they still give me the space to be myself. And then the other thing is, I mentioned I recently moved to Calgary, and one thing that happens sometimes when we host our events, there's a lot of people that congratulate us for what we're doing. And those are like small things, quote unquote, but they mean a lot. Because as you say, sometimes people don't see what you are trying to do, but these days it feels like more and more people are starting to see what we're trying to do, because there are a lot of players out there doing events and experiences, but it seems like La Connexional might be one of the best out there. And then people are starting to not just recognize that, but now really, really appreciate
that.
So,
No, I love that. I love how you have those multifaceted ways of keeping yourself grounded, right? Especially with like the people that you love and that love you. It's really important in our journey that whatever we do, like anywhere we go, it's so important for us to stay connected with our community. Because one thing I've realized is that in this journey of entrepreneurship, it can be very lonely. And when you stay in your box, in your solitude, it does not allow for, because when you get to the place, I've gotten there, but like you look around, like where are the people? That's the one thing that I never want to experience. It's like looking around and then you see nobody. God forbid. You know what I mean?
You did all of that for
what? Right? So it's good that you have those people around you. And I now see more like, okay, what's keeping you going? Because you know that, okay, people have sacrificed a lot for you to be here. A lot for you to succeed. Therefore, you have to. There's no ifs and buts, right? So even me, like I connect in that way as well, being coming from a Christian family, right? Being that my parents have sacrificed in prayer, in bringing us here, that journey. So it's like anywhere I go, I know that I'm carrying this last name. I can't embarrass that last name. You know what I mean? So I love that. So I would love to go into now like the impact that you have been doing through La Connexional and the events. Because I know you mentioned technology. But before we go there, I would love to know like what are some of the impactful community outreach campaigns and events, just like on the large scale that you have done, that you have developed and executed in Edmonton, that you feel that, you know what, this really hit hard or resonate with you deeply?
There's definitely a few milestones. The first one would be the first Afro-Latin festival, music festival that we did. That would have been, so we had the live show in 2018, and the first festival I started would have been in 2019. that was like, whoa, because that was one of the first time where we had lots of live bands, Latin live bands, Mel Afrique. We had Manny V, who was kind of Latina. A lot of people that we work with already that we still work with today. And it was, again, one of those things like, we can't stop. Like, how do we stop? Or even how do we cap this, right? So that was one big, because, again, these things, sometimes you plan them, you do line up and all these things, but you don't know what's going to happen until it happens. You're like, oh, wow, this was 100% worth the sacrifices. Then moving on to that, 2019, I would say 2020 is when, is that when COVID hit, or is it 2022?
2022, I believe.
2022. Yeah. So I feel like from that, with Connexional, we did a bunch of other initiatives. One of the initiatives that we did was the Explorational Summit. It's the first time we brought over 40 speakers. This was, we brought over 40 speakers. It was for our 40th anniversary, I believe. And there were all these speakers that we kind of like connected with, and they came, and the attendance wasn't great, but it was a very impactful event because we got to chat a lot with these speakers. It was almost like, it felt like a podcast, you know? It was a really, really good vibe. And then we had, moving to that or in between, in not sure exactly which year, maybe it could have been 2021 or 2020, we had our first ever swimming program. This swimming program, BIPOC swimming program, was activated by APERG, which is an organization within the University of Alberta. And out of that program, we had 4 people that could not swim. The swimming instructor was Loshan Masekonte, who is the lead singer for Mel Afrique. Amina was the event coordinator. And those 4 people that couldn't swim, after the 8 weeks, they were like master swimmers. I still can swim. What? So I can.
Why did you take the class?
I wanted to, but you know, I've told myself the next time we do the program, I'm signing myself up. No one's gonna prevent me. So I will be signing myself up. So that's one of those programs that I'm like, like you can really quantify that kind of impact on someone, and then the people that they're gonna raise, or the generations after them, because those are very important skills. Then I move on to the Black-Owned Market. The Black-Owned Market, by the time I left, or I took a step back, we reinvested over $60,000, I think, $50,000 to $60,000 back into the Black community, Black-owned businesses. So that's probably one of the impact that I'm still the most proud of, because it's something that happened organically, and we're able to like give back so much through the events that we hosted through the market. And then Pour Me Water Festival. The Pour Me Water Festival is the first ever Afro-Latin tropical beach festival inside of the World Water Park. When I arrived in Edmonton, I remember going there maybe a year after I arrived. I was like, wow. This place, first of all, West Edmonton Mall, especially back in those days when I arrived here as a fob, this was like the biggest thing ever, like the place to hang out, right?
Definitely.
And to think that like a few years, a decade maybe after that we were hosting this cultural event inside of the West Edmonton Mall World Water Park was insane.
What an achievement.
It was a big one. It's also an achievement that was really a big challenge to be able to build something at that scale. But we're excited because it's coming back on Saturday, March 1st, 2025. Shameless plug.
We heard it here first, guys.
So, actually heard it here first, the first time I say it publicly.
That's exciting.
So and then moving on to that, then UBUNTU Festival. UBUNTU Festival is probably in the top list of, I would say, that I'm really proud of. UBUNTU Festival was co-founded by myself and Nunu Design. Nunu is the owner of Habesha African Market. And we worked together to produce the UBUNTU Festival. And that was one of the first family-friendly festival. Apart from Black-Owned Market, that was a new festival that I'd done. And the impact from that is the mayor of Edmonton through other things that probably happened around then, but I think our festival was a key point, ended up declaring Africa Day as an official day in Alberta, because Africa Day gets celebrated every year around the world on May 25th.
Yes.
But Mayor Sohi declared May 25th Africa Day after that event. And then for the first time as well, I felt like we were able to really showcase all of the different intricacies and complexities between African, Black, Caribbean, and Latin cultures. So we had a capoeira academy do like a workshop. And so there were kids there that would have probably never heard of seeing capoeira before. And they were able to experience that. When thinking about capoeira, about where it comes from, it's something that is very African. It's something that comes from, again, slavery, our people being moved over to Latin America and using dance and art and martial art as a way to resist. For kids that could have likely never had a way to interact with that in person, to do that then and there, for me is huge. And then we had Inyambo, there was a Burundian cultural dance, we had Ethiopian coffee ceremony. So it was a very wholesome experience that hit a lot of part of what the African and Latin experience is about. At least Ubuntu very much focuses on African descent. And so those are some of the biggest milestones over the years. This September, we are going to be taking over, God willing, the Churchy Square. Which again is, it's hoping the people pull up, because we are, because all of these things soon, maybe in the near future, they might just, if it doesn't work out, we're gonna have to give up. And
hopefully not.
And give up in the sense of, we need to take a step back and reevaluate. Because at some point in time, as a business owner, as when you're an entrepreneur, you really need to think about the things that matters. And right now, some of the things that matters more to me is my friends, family that have actually allowed me to build all of these things. And so if these things don't start making sense anymore, it's a pivot, because I know for a fact I can have success, a lot of success, doing so many other things. And so it's just like we are currently in this battle of, let's create these experiences for the maximum amount of impact. And if that impact isn't not necessarily appreciated, but doesn't bring enough back to us, we need to reevaluate what that means in the grand scheme of things. Because Pour Me Water Festival.
No, I love that. I love how, like, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of cool
and it's
things.
Not everything.
I know. I've only done, I think, 2 events with you. I think one of the Ubuntu Festival
and Black-Owned Market.
And Black-Owned Market, and also the I'm a Piano.
Ooh.
Right?
Okay, that's a big milestone. I'm a Piano.
Yes.
I'm a Piano is a big milestone. That event was actually really, really amazing.
That was really cool.
What you all did there with the creative direction was next level.
Shout out to Femi as well. That was we really activated that space. No, that was a really cool event, and it's amazing to hear of like all these other things that you've been doing and the milestones that you've been able to attain, right? I'd love to hear more about like the technology aspect of things, because you did mention that earlier, right? So how do you utilize technology to enhance the sustainability as well as the scalability of your projects? I know that that's a huge thing that you have invested in softwares, right? And I remember you guys introduced like an app, right? I don't know if that's something you're still promoting or you're still working on it behind the scenes or something like that. But like, in what ways have you, as technology, allowed you to basically like go beyond what most people like, they have to do so many things to get to the next step, especially when it comes to like event management, event planning and whatnot.
The simple truth is that without technology and software right now, we wouldn't exist anymore. I'm not even going to lie to myself, because I would say we have a core team of 4 to 5 people that are consistently working on Connexional. And with that core team of 4 to 5 people, Currently at this stage, I'm still doing between 50 to 70% of the work, which slowly we're starting to, because a lot of those 4 to 5 people are people that weren't founders and they've started after. So we need to remove the organizational memory from my brain back to everyone. And technology is allowing us to even start like creating, I guess like SOPs, like ways to operate that are like faster and better, or even ways to formalize our workflows. With technology right now, with ChatGPT right now, I can do a voice to ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, we have an event coming up. This is my workflow that I use. Can you help me delegate this workflow? Because when we think about communication and management and all these things, language can be a really huge barrier. My first language is French. And so even in thinking of that, sure, my English is pretty good, but to sometimes transmit the information can be hard. But ChatGPT is able to understand me enough to then help me break down that information. Software has been huge. We currently use Eventbrite as our main way to host our events. Eventbrite last year started charging.
Really?
When Eventbrite started, my heart dropped. I was like, oh my days. The one place where we were like, okay, we're going to be good for a while. Eventbrite started charging.
Wow.
But the thing with Eventbrite is that it's actually a really, really good and powerful tool. And they're charging on paying because if I was not paying, any other tools that we've tried does not allow us to execute things the way we've been able to execute. Some of the things that we are working on right now is a lot of automation. So so you
guys are really good with your automations. Like when I send, like, let's say share a story on Instagram and tag like Connexional, immediately like somebody replies like, oh, thank you. I'm like, whoa, y'all are really good on the automation.
We're bringing that back. I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy that worked. But yeah, so it's some of those things where, like social media, for example, when you think about it, last Saturday we had an event, and there are people that texted me maybe 2-3 hours before being like, hey, tickets. I did not see those texts, and I do not feel bad about not seeing those texts. But if I had the automation set up in the way that I wanted, that automation could have helped us actually get those people to the venue and make that income. So right now, software for, especially when I think about Black-owned business or BIPOC-owned business, Latin-owned businesses, what's happening with AI and the revolution that's happening with technology is inevitable. You either have to start leveraging it to help yourself, and hopefully by helping yourself, you're able to empower other people through that. And I think that's the way I primarily look at it. I know there's a lot of different mixed feelings in the art community, especially in creative community around AI. But the reality of, for like small businesses like ours that are actually very focused on like social impact, not just creating events just for people to to create events, things like AI can really, really help close that gap. So yeah, technology is a super, super huge part of what we're doing right now in trying to become more sustainable, but it is expensive. It's very expensive. And that's where, the struggle is, what is, like just for email newsletter, you could easily be paying like $100 a month or like 200. So if you're not making $1,000 a month, then like, if you're not making, and you don't want to be making 1,000, you want to be making like hopefully 5,000 so that you can have the cash flow to break even and plan other things in the future.
So. No, that's really cool how like you've been using technology to activate what you're doing, especially being able to connect with people, because if it's just you left alone replying to those DMs, it just wouldn't be giving up. It's just stressful, you know what I mean? So I love that you mentioned that, because it now allows us as emerging creatives really tap into like, okay, when we want to start our business, so if we're already doing our business, how can we automate what we're already doing so that it doesn't allow us to be, so we're not stressed, you know what I mean? So those things that you mentioned are very valuable, because it does allow us to do what we need to focus on as creatives. So for me, I'm all for AI. I even subscribe to like the ChatGPT. I'm like in the advanced one. I got the pro, so I'm like, you know what? It's working. It does what it needs to do. Like, it literally, you can create like a resume or cover letter in a span of like 5 minutes. Like,
And those things, and they're not now, even when you create those cover letters, they tell you that they have AI tools that are going to detect you.
But to be honest, like the thing with that, I feel like is very much like how you tailor it to it, right? You being honest, right? Even if they can detect it, it's like, okay, what are you doing?
Well, if I was honest with my resume, like, why do you want me to spend 1 hour or even over 2 hours writing a cover letter? Even in French, it would take me like an hour or easily 2 to write one cover letter.
I never even thought about even like language too. Yeah,
it's just like, I'm going to spend, so if I'm applying for 10 jobs, that's what, 2 times 20 hours?
Yeah.
And none of the jobs then call me back. What do I do?
What do
I do? No, like, it's one of those things where like I understand why there are mixed feelings, because AI is also like scary to be honest in so many different ways.
Yeah.
But it's not going anywhere.
It's not going. You have to not integrate it with what you do.
You have to. So
But I'd love to now go into like the influence of fashion in your brand. Can you share any example of events or project where fashion played a central role in how you engage with your community?
So our latest release, our latest big release was, we call it Shea Butter.
Yes.
And it was this turtleneck that was also kind of like a sweat, like a really, really good sweaters that has inside of it, it's really warm. So like if you live in Alberta, you know, it gets cold out here. So it's a really, really good functional tool. And the turtleneck, you could also zip it down so that it's also breathable. So when I think about how fashion has allowed us to even reach more people, or even just like be different as a brand, especially in the spaces that we are, like the parties, it's you know, like I like fashion. I like things that look good. I also love turtlenecks. So that was the first time we had like a turtleneck, you know, like crossover with like La Connexional. And one of the things that I feel like influences our brand is, we do want, when people come to our events, to think about like, you know, like how do I show up? You know, like how am I showing up? And, you know, people, you dress however you want, you know, with the means that you have. And sometimes people don't necessarily have the money to let's go purchase all these different things. But when we have these fashion releases, it also allows us to build a strong community. Because now if we had 50 of those sweatshirts, now when I go out and I see people that have that and we're wearing the same thing, hey, you know,
that's a tribe.
It's a tribe. You know, one of our most impactful release till this date is our multicolor hoodie. We released this multicolor hoodie back in like maybe 2018 or 2019, and that was like, still this day, that's probably one of my favorite hoodie, and it's still really, really good quality. And I still see a lot of people wearing it. And so for me, when I see things like that, it's kind of like a representation of how long our brand has also been alive. It represents like all the different cycles. I even had this weird idea of like, you know, doing all of the different eras of La Connexional, but it's so much work. And so like I think for me, fashion is important because, I mean, I grew up with a mom and a dad that my mom is, you know, when my mom dresses up, she dresses up. Like, she looks good.
Yes.
You know, like African attire, African fabric. I grew up in Cameroon, and so African fabric has always been around. And I think that vibrancy of African fabric, the vibe that it comes out, is what we aim to bring through La Connexional, but in a way that's not necessarily African fabric, that's more like modern, or like contemporary to say, and that can appeal to everyone, because one of our goals with our fashion sometimes is also to be able to reach a wider community than what we usually reach. And last but not least will be we also released a fashion collection for our swimwear.
Oh yes, I remember
that is sort of like looped into like Pour Me Water. And one of the prints that was designed by Omono is called Zanzibar. And this print, one of my friends, every time we wear it, we just feel like kings. You know, it's like, it's one of those things where like, when it comes to fashions or creating these different things, it's like, how do we create product? Again, it's not an experience, as an event that ends in one day. How do we create product that just lasts a lifetime, or give you more memories, or make you feel like you've traveled or you're now someone else. And that's just what we've been hoping to kind of like add into the different fashion releases that we've done.
No, I love that. I love how like each release, like you said, connects the tribe even more, because every time you go out and step into, the city, you're like, oh, this is one of my own, you know what I mean? And I really love your swimwear collection. Like when you guys dropped that was like really, really beautiful, right? It was hot. It was just like the colors and it just looked really, really good. I know you mentioned something. We have been talking a lot about community and what that means to you, right? I'd love to know, like, what advice would you give to an emerging creative or, leader who aspires to drive positive change in their communities, right? Whether they're here in Edmonton or in any other city, especially you being somebody who, embodies like effective leadership and, being able to do community engagement, events management. Perhaps somebody wants to go into these areas of pursuit. What are some advice you would give to them based on your experiences and the skills and the background that you have?
I mean, there's a lot of things, and I think for me, the first thing that came to mind when you were asking me the question was build good and long-term relationships, and that's not easy. You're going to fail. I failed at building a lot of different relationships, so sometimes you're going to fumble not because of other people, but because of the different circumstances, and you need to be kind to yourself sometimes and just find ways to reach back out or give yourself grace, because today's world is hectic and not easy. I do sincerely think, and I do feel like maybe thinking is maybe a lot. I do feel that we are one of the generations that is we're getting bombarded by a lot of things that we haven't quite understood, and that even of our parents and the generation before us still don't understand. But there's so many things that we're getting hit with, from AI to some of the wars that are happening around the world, to the truth being not the truth anymore. And so I think over the years, I would say probably your biggest asset is going to be building good long-term relationships. And it's not easy to find your people, to find your tribe. You're not meant to be working with everyone. When you notice a red flag that doesn't really necessarily work with you, stay on that feeling, analyze it, and figure out what you're going to do next. And do your best to be as kind as possible to other people. Because especially, I feel that in the business world, I feel like creatives in general are just a lot more kind. I feel like in the business world in general, people are not necessarily kind. So build good relationship, be as kind as possible to other people, and put yourself out there in a way that makes sense for you. Not everyone. If many people met me when I was in high school, they wouldn't believe that they are talking to this person, because I am an introvert. Like, I am an introvert. I've not trained myself. I am an introvert that also gets recharged by being in community, because I've grown up in a culture that thrives on community, that thrives on having a village. But most of the time, I like to be by myself. I like to be alone. And so if you're that kind of person, don't let that hold you back. There are people out there like you, or find different systems and ways. You can go out and go for 2 hours and go back home. Like, pace yourself. And that would be more like that advice to other people that might be similar to me, that are introverts, but that also do enjoy people's presence here and there once in a while. Like, figure out like that balance for you. Balance is tricky. Because balance sometimes looks like this, and then it could look like this. Balance is tricky. It changes with the season and the period. Winter balance is different than summer balance. So let's even just start there.
It's like, know your seasons, know your times and seasons. But I love how you mentioned like kindness, and finding people who actually genuinely care for you and care about what you're doing and your well-being and whatnot, right? And that balance is key, right? Especially for somebody who wants to start a business or just wants to start something creative. I feel like it's just the first step, taking that first step of putting yourself out there, taking that first step of, doing what you want to do, and slowly, you progress, you move forward, but just taking that step, I feel like is very important, which I love about what you have said. You being somebody that is very much, grounded in this Edmonton community and so committed, right? And the whole thing about this season of Sunday Refocus is to spotlight our Edmontonians, right? And share with people, this is who have been here. Because I feel like the industry, just like the fashion and creative industry, is very much fragmented. There's a lot of people doing things here and there, but we're not like, connected like that. We see each other on social media, it's like comments, hey, I see you, you know what I mean? But like in the real, like we don't really, there's not that much connectivity I sense, right? So what would you say for you will be something that, as Edmontonians, the creative scene, how could we grow as a community? Like in what ways, what sorts of growth do we need and how can we start?
There's a few things, and the first thing I would say should not be the first thing I should say, but it's the first thing I'm saying because one of the first thing that comes to mind, and perhaps that was going to help me voice other things. I think as a creative community in Edmonton, we need to we need to figure out better ways to attach value to money. And that's really tough because I am a small business owner. But I think the power that I see in Edmonton is being able to support each other in a way that actually allows everyone to make more. But sometimes I feel that just because, again, the way everything is going, we all want things to be very transactional. It's really important for every creative to really set their rates and to know what those rates are, and to also know when a collaboration might be more valuable than those rates. And with some of the up-and-coming artists, especially, with a lot of up-and-coming artists, and it's hard to say this because I'm like I want you to get paid. I think there's a disconnect with how to not necessarily how to make money, but I think like to make money or to create a sustainable business or art, you really do need to build a really, really good network. I feel that, for example, we've been in a lot of situations where we are working with artists, we have a budget for an event because people assume that we're making all this crazy money from events. Events are really expensive, from like the coordination to the artists that we work with and all these different things. And it's kind of wild because I also know how much other event planners pay the other artists. And consistently, we are kind of above average. But those same artists will go work for those same people for those same rates. But when they come to work for us, it's a different energy. And sometimes it's because those people don't look like me. Or they don't look like us, or they've been around longer. And so, but you want to get exposure to that audience. So it is really tricky because everyone is going to have a very different experience when it comes to building what they're doing, their craft, their art, depending on what that craft and art is. I think some of the things that we're missing is, as a creative community in Edmonton, to even like, how do we like get together and actually have these conversations and talk about how to like really support and empower each other? Something that we've just started like Connexional, and we just launched because it was like, okay, how do we empower the artists that we work with? So we have this thing now when an artist sells tickets, they get they get a 20% discount code, and then they get 30% of the sales of the ticket. So that's the 50% that we give up, quote unquote. But we tried that for the first time with one of the artists that has been working with us. Last Saturday, that artist was able to make 2-3 times what they would have made if we hadn't had that. On the side of us as the organizers or the producer is this artist is supporting us, and then we are also like rewarding them back with some of the work that they did. It could obviously be a better program, it could pay more and all these things, but the cost that we have and the risk that we take far outweighs like a lot of the things that the artist, for example, has put on as well. So that's that part, for example, from us as a producer. And what's interesting, I guess, for me is that I've been on all of the side right now.
You've seen,
where like I've been a producer, I've done events for free, many events for free. I've done really good paid events. I've done corporate events. So I'm starting to see, okay, how do I use all these different perspectives? And I actually asked the artist feedback, and it was like, that was good. I want us to do that again, because then it empowers the artist to do a little bit more. Because sometimes you also work with artists, they don't even share the flyer once. And you're like, so we are working together, we are giving a rate. Maybe that rate isn't a crazy hit, but you're not even going to share the event once. That's like, that's tough, because like you're not doing that. It's just like, well, like, it's a little bit tough. So it's the perspective are going to change, but also as an artist, I understand what those artists might be going through, because a lot of artists are not wealthy. They don't have financial support. So why do an event for 200 when you want 500? But also, well, if you don't do the 200 event, if you don't have anything else, then you also still have zero. But it's very, very interesting. And I think it's a conversation that I'm actually hoping to, it'll be cool to bring a lot of people around that. One of the components of the festival at Churchill is that we are hosting an Afro-Latin Arts Music Summit. / conference, where we're going to have a panel discussion and hopefully try to start this conversations maybe. Because it's really tough and tricky. And I think also the Edmonton ecosystem, it's the creative, us as individuals, there's only so much power that we have. There's now the bigger ecosystem that is Edmonton, that is, the different arts organization in Edmonton. What are those art organizations in Edmonton doing to empower BIPOC artists? Because most of the artists that we work are BIPOC. I very much understand a lot of the struggles that they go through, because I went through a lot of those similar struggles. I'm not going through a lot of those struggles anymore because of the work that I put in to not be there. But it's also sometimes bigger than us as individuals. And that's why I feel like on the individual levels, it feels like there's not that sense of connection, because we are also not victim. I don't want to use the word victim. We also have the pressure of the system. That isn't allowing us necessarily also look at things in a different way, or even supporting or activating some of the things that we're doing. So it's very complex. All of it doesn't fall on the artist responsibility. It is, unfortunately, in this day and age, always your responsibility to get yourself out of whatever situation, and you have to take that. But there is a bigger ecosystem at large where Afrobeat is just starting to get really big in the city. Burna Boy's he didn't sell out the arena, but Burna Boy was the arena. Ashake came to Rogers Arena. So these things have literally just happened in the last 2 years. So those things hopefully are going to show Edmonton as a city that these cultures can make you money. And when you start talking money with the city, then potentially you start talking more money going back into the artists that help make that scene a reality. So it's tough.
I really appreciate your transparency and also your bluntness in like the reality of just the micro and the macro level of what creators experience. So it's like you said, it's not just only us that is like, it feels like puppets, you know what I mean? Because like there's an overarching, system that I feel like a lot of creatives don't really recognize. And it's something that I touched upon in May in a series where I spoke about alternative ways of, funding your project or just pushing your project forward, right? Because at times like you can apply for funding, but the funding doesn't come. But it's like, I'm still going to apply for that funding because I believe in this idea. So instead of like just sitting down and waiting, what do we do? what do we do? You know what I mean? So those are, even for myself too, being in that space where I've had to also navigate, like, okay, financing is not easy. Wanting to push your project forward is not easy, but how can we build a community where you're able to collaborate, like you said, but also see ways you can pour in value and empowerment into other creatives, right? And be like, okay, we're all in this journey together. Let us start doing the work and let us see how we can push it forward. And I feel like one thing I've noticed as well with the creative sector is that until you actually create that work for yourself, not nobody, I feel like people won't really be like, okay, I want to buy into that idea. You know what I mean? So it's like, you have to actually like do the work. You actually have to create those opportunities for yourself, because then, only then as a creative, will you see that the opportunities are now opening doors for you to be like, oh, I've been seeing you being consistent in this. Come and do this for us. Come and do that for us. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a difficult thing for creatives. It's like, from the get-go, you want to just start making your millions. You want to start making your millions.
You know your value.
Right?
You know your value. Yeah,
right. And it's like, and at times it's very hard to be like, okay, I know my value, but like, okay, where I am right now, how can we... And I feel like for me, it's been something that I've been really tussling with and working on. It's like, yes, especially when you've been doing it for a while. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you've been doing this for a while. How can you really, how can you help people see the value that you're bringing? So at times it may be, sometimes taking the lower paid job, but also now seeing like, okay, from that, how can you create a system? I feel like systems are really important. Systems and structures, because you can, once you stand on business, you stand on business, and they will see the value in the business. So that's one thing for me, is I realize, like, once you create that system for yourself from those experiences, you start to see like, okay, people can't just be walking over you, right? But at least there's that level of respect of the value you bring, and value speaks for itself.
It does.
You know what I mean? Right? So I feel like I love what you're saying, because it does go even deeper from what I've just like hear from a lot of people that I speak with about just how we're able to progress in this Edmontonian creative scene. A lot of people have said, oh, they want more spaces to, talk about marketing or things like that, or be able to collaborate on projects, right? But I feel like it's at times it's hard to touch on money, because a lot of people feel like, I don't really want to, a lot of people feel some type of way towards that. But I appreciate that you actually touched on that, because I feel that has been the core of what has, not one of the cores of what has kept people a bit separated. It's like, okay, I want to do this, I want to collaborate, I want to work with you, but like, you know what I mean? It goes back to what you were saying at the start of like finding people that you can connect with. Like, you can really, you see their value, but they see your value, and you can find ways to progress and move together
as a unit.
And
that's why I think like groups like Metafric have been killing it, because I will say Metafric is probably I look up to what they've been able to achieve a lot as a band. They've been around in the city for probably as long as La Connexional, 7 years or more maybe. And when you see where Metafric is, you can feel how they are moving as a unit. They are this group that have different skills individually as artists, and then different skills individually as people. And they are pulling those resources together to move forward. So I think it's definitely it's a work in progress in a lot of ways. And I'm sure like, again, like, this is happening. I was going to mention your package is really amazing. And like those kind of systems, having when someone reaches out to you, my package, you don't even. I love that, because it's like it shows the value right away, and even if after there's a different negotiation after that. The people that are part of that know the value. I'm also seeing here AJ Luden. I'm hoping I pronounce that. AJ Luden is probably one of the like most successful like painter / visual artists in this city. And when you see the things he's managed to achieve, I'm sure he's been through a lot of different things to be able to get where he is. And it'd be interesting again to like have some of these folks, do speaking series and hear from the podcast from Sunday Refocus. But it's like it's really
it's a journey.
It's a journey.
It's a journey for sure.
It's no easy.
Yeah, no, I love that because like it what you just said even about Mela Freak also reminds me of just like how you're able to what's the word? Would it be dispense or like kind of like share your network in a way, right? Because I feel like everybody, people you know that I don't know, there's people I know that you don't know, and I feel like that has also been a way for me to even like build this community because like maybe I can't do this, but this person can do it. And that's one thing I really thank God for is like my ability to just appreciate people's giftings and like I don't have the time for this, or I don't want to do this right now. Let me ask this person. I was like, oh, you're looking for a photographer? Oh, I know somebody, they would do the job for you. So it's like even that going to the extent of be like not gatekeeping, I feel like it's also another huge thing as well.
That's a whole other podcast.
That's a whole other conversation. But being able to share your network is very, very key, right? So no, I really appreciate that. I'll go into my last question for the day. What would you say is like your, what are the future plans for you? And, let's say a milestone you're hoping to achieve very soon. What's next for Connexional?
Promi Water Festival 2025. That's a tunnel vision right now. The goal is to bring 2,000 people to the World Water Park. And
y'all hear that? 2,000 people? That is lit.
Is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? That's already 1995 people to go. That's currently that's a vision. So currently right now, we are going to. I would say a goal for us this summer is to penetrate Edmonton as a city in terms of penetrate every single audiences that potentially exist in Edmonton and expose ourselves to them and to the things that we do. I think we have a lot of things to offer, and you're going to see us host minimum around 2 events a month. And those 2 events a month are going to be high quality, very well-produced events at very, very amazing venues in the city. And we're really out here to create a summer that Edmonton has never seen, because the lead up to that is going to be, okay, you missed out, pour me water. Because some people will miss out and they will regret that they missed out. So that's y'all
heard it here.
Going all in.
No, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Ivan, for sharing your insights and experience with us today. Before we conclude, could you please let our audience know where they can find you, further connect with you, perhaps like your personal and your business page as well?
Absolutely. Hopefully soon I won't be on Instagram, but you can easily find me on LinkedIn at Ivan Touko. That's going to be the easiest way to connect with me. Ivan Touko, IVANTOUKO, but Ivan Touko. On Instagram is also IVANTOUKO. Not very responsive on social media in general. And via email is ivan@laconnexional.com. And we also have a website, www.laconnexional.com, LACONNEXIONAL.com. Thank you so much for having me today. It was, thank you for all the work that you're doing.
Shout out to my team. It's not just me.
Shout out to the team. Today was a very wonderful day. I think I'm supposed to keep it low key, but I felt special today, being part of the Sunday Refocus, and I can't wait to see where the podcast, how internationally it reaches. So,
God willing. And thank you all for your participation and thoughtful engagement in the session. For those interested in revisiting today's episode, please do check out our website and social media, as well as the resources that Ivan is going to share. You guys can also tap into those to help you further your creative endeavors or learn more about ways you can be more of a leader or event management or whatever it may be, right? So definitely do check that out on our website and social media. And please shout out to our sponsors, Strong Coffee Marketing, for allowing us to use their space. You guys are amazing. And shout out to Fine Edmonton for allowing us to use your furniture. Without y'all, we wouldn't be able to execute this beautiful episode. But thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay blessed. Bye.